We departed Great Keppel Island at 6 o'clock in the morning on my birthday. We were first heading to Port Clinton for the first leg of the trip, which was about 45 nautical miles. Then we had about the same distance to cover again to Marble Island before a short hop of 20 miles across to the Percy Islands. North Keppel Island.
It's around 8:30 in the morning and the wind's coming from the southwest, and so we've just popped up the code 0 to try and move us along a little bit. I think we're doing about 5.7 knots and the engine's going as well.
That's Flat Island. And that's Peak Island. Original names, aren't they? Lots of this brown algae in the water down here.
Just over there is Port Clinton. That used to be a very important port back in the day. We were just going to go over there, but we're making good time, so we've decided to go over to Pearl Bay. This whole area is run by the Defence Department, where they often have military exercises and so forth, and they have the Americans come here and the Singaporeans, I think, and they all come here and play war games. And so when that happens, it's closed off. And luckily we just found out that the Pearl Bay, which is where we want to go, isn't closed off today. So
Island Head Creek in there. We're heading for Marble Island. There's another boat in front of us there. Well, we nearly had a bit of a mishap then. The wind picked up, it got up to about 15 knots, so probably a bit more, gusting a bit more. And we had the screecher up, so I wanted to get the screecher down. And as I was furling it down, the rope got caught round the foil at the bottom, so I had to spread myself out on the prodder, and the guy that goes back to the starboard hull lie there and try and unfurl it as Leah helped me. And then it was the head sheets got loose and it just flew off. Then I tried to release the halyard at the top, so we ended up with the whole code 0 in the water, and it took quite an effort to pull it back up to the boat. But anyway, we've got it pulled up back now, we've tied it up, and I think we're going to have to really assess when we fly this code 0, because if the wind gets up more than, I reckon, 12 knots, we're really going to be struggling to pull it in. So in future we have to go by the numbers. We folded up and tied the code 0 to the lifelines until later on, when we could tidy it up when we anchored. coming in behind us. We're nearly in the anchorage as well. That's good. 2 catamarans just passed us, going the opposite way. They're going to cop that unless they find the anchorage behind that island.
We anchored on the north side of Marble Island. Hunter, Marble, Tynemouth and Bamborough Islands are the 4 largest islands that make up the Duke Islands. Most of these islands are cattle and sheep grazing lands. There is also an airstrip on Marble, and if you want to buy them, they're up for sale for about $15 million. Our stay here will not be remembered fondly, as I crashed the drone here and it sank into the water near the boat, so it's now called Drone Island. As we set sail for the Percys, we were entertained by a whale for a while.
Sorry screecher about to the side there, which came down yesterday. Marble Island distance. The best leg of the trip so far.
There's just so much to look at.
There's our boat out there, Escape. Someone wants a bed for a night, there it is. Very comfortable hammock. So there's the kitchen as well. If you want to cook something up, there's all the cooking utensils there. Well, I've been looking around for our old t-shirt that was left here and I can't find it. Yep, I've had a good look. Don't know where it is.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah. Persuader, a Scottish couple that we met in the 80s. They worked on Hamilton Island when I was there as well. There's a couple and a son and two big red setters from what I remember. Well, that's Andy Martin. And that's an extract from the log of Captain Matthew Flinders when he discovered and named the Percy Islands. Ship's bell. So this is Middle Percy Island. So I came here for the first time in 1986 with two shipmates of mine. We came on a boat called Rolling Stone with Eamon and Barry, and we toured up and down the Queensland coast on this boat for a while, and we stayed a few weeks when we were here, and we met the owner of the island. He took over the lease anyway, Andrew Martin, and we got to know him pretty well, and he actually wanted us to stay on the island and look after his brewery. So what he used to do, there were goats on the island, and he also kept bees, and he grew his own fruit and veg. So any sailors that were passing, or they would usually come and visit him. He had a homestead up the hill, which we'll go and see later, and he would sell fruit and veg. He'd give them a meal, and he used to sell the mead, which was made from the honey from the bees. It's pretty good stuff as well. So yeah, he took a liking to us and said, why don't you stay and look after my brewery? But we were in a hurry to go up the coast, so we didn't do that. So that's 1986. I've been back, this is my third or fourth time I think now I've been here. So what happened with Andy, in the 1990s he was getting much older and his health was going downhill, and he started to lose the plot quite a bit. And he had a calling. He thought that God was talking to him directly and was telling him to go back to England. So he went back to England in the 1990s. He became more delusionary. He was convinced that Princess Di should rise from the dead, and her and her two sons should accompany him back to the Middle Percy Island here. And when it didn't happen, he started to think that he'd made a dreadful sin and that he was going to be annihilated by his maker. Anyway, he died in 2003. He was on the island for a long time. He was eaten, educated. He was apparently a self-exiled son of aristocrats. Yeah, and he wanted to live the Robinson Crusoe life. And when you walk around the island, it's as if you were on a Robinson Crusoe's island as well. There's lots of mementos from boats that have passed over the years. I'm still looking for the one from Rolling Stone. We had a t-shirt, but I can't find it. Probably too deteriorated, I think, to have stood the test of time. But it's a really interesting place, and it's quite a unique place on the Australian coast, Middle Percy Island. In 2003, Andy Martin died. Then what happened was there were several people who were after the lease for the island. I think they used to get a 70-year lease for the island. And one of them, he offered Andrew $10 for the lease of the island, and it went through, and this guy lived on the island for some time. The island's lease was worth about $320,000 at the time when he offered $10. Anyway, it became a long, protracted and costly court case which went on for several years, and eventually other people moved onto the island, and the lease has changed a few times.